My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told. It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Да, такая плохая история, трагическая. Решил поиграть в покер, да, тут взяли братьев, убили. Ладно, раз с вами Сталкер, мы продолжаем Call of Juarez. Давайте начинать.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains.
Пытался пару раз писать на медикам.
They were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
На бандикам АБС.
They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop.
Вагон шлёпнулся.
Well, I assumed the Wild Bunch was likely in the still intact part of the train high above. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
Это походу упадет, да? Да. Плюс вагон. Так, что здесь у нас? Чё? Это что?
I found the device they used to blow the tracks, so I knew I was headed in the right direction.
Слушайте, или что? Что это такое? Что это такое? Ладно. Погнали дальше. Опа.
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them. From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass
Здесь
out
нет
of there.
ничего. Динамит только. Да, ладно. Погнали дальше. Ух, погнали. Я понабираю.
I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados.
Здорово, бандиты.
Outside, inside, any way I could, I made my way towards my prey.
Well, what about the passengers?
It was mostly a freight train, as I recall.
А, ты
There were no
грузовой.
passengers aboard that day.
Повезло.
As I mentioned before, I am not fond of heights.
Ведь
I was too
неплохой,
busy
скажу.
dodging bullets to worry about falling to my death.
Ай. Так подвисло-то.
Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway.
Ай.
So I was determined to take down as many of those bastards as I could.
Так, с разворота просто. О, все, вам хана, господа. Да-да. Ладно.
Times it was like shooting ducks in a shooting gallery. The only difference is these damn ducks shot back.
Просто весь вагон разнесся.
I kept hoping the law would show up and give me a
You
hand.
mean like that giant Pinkerton
что
posse
такое?
that I read about? Did they come riding in, guns a-blazing to help?
Гасиман, Джо Леферс, Джефф Кар, Тим Плейхер, Эльза Лейд, Кит Карри, Буч Кэссиди, Сандерс Кит. Большой отряд против дикой банды. Фига себе. Что, наши союзники, да?
Help? From the Pinkertons? No, son.
Естественно.
I had to fight the wild bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Who the hell is that?
Красиво, да, сейчас было?
Retreat! Retreat! He's killing everybody! He'll kill us all!
Ладно. Полез смело, такой смелый. От пизды не дам, да? Хопа. Самонаводка классная вещь.
My guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it
Gatling.
happened, did they?
Серьезно, ладно. Тебе хана.
Stragglers were left, and I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail.
Сколько у вас здесь, а? Вас пару, господа. Дело, я их не вижу тоже. А если... Это что? Это как так?
Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nosed Curry.
Что за Джордж?
He,
Кто это был?
the fastest gun
Вот
in the
дуэли у
gang.
нас, понятно.
Right
Хотя
after
это
Sundance, I mean.
не так сложно будет, раз это.
And
Мы
Kid
по
Curry,
двоих же еще
and maybe
стрелялись.
Elsie Lay. Though some folks might dispute that.
Мог со мной согласиться. Ну сейчас, короче, мы как разнесем быстро. Так. Просто мертвить еще надо. Все, фокус. Опа. Хедшот, детка.
On that very same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America.
Получилось.
They ended up living down there for many years, but I'm sure you already know all about that.
Гоф убит 64, точность 69. Любимый оружие рейнджер, любимая награда, верный выстрел. Ясно. Здесь исполнит 200. Ладно, на этом мы закончим. Всем спасибо, кто смотрел. Такая серия получилась. Как обычно, короткая. Всем удачи, всем пока-пока.